is a senior here. He's a poli-sci major. He wants no intro joke. Get hyphy. It's Max Lasser.
I've been in there for a long time. It's just me and Taylor from Carolina Productions. She does not have time for my nonsense. It's a tip for some of you younger comedians. You do an improv joke to warm up the crowd. You guys feel good? Great, let's get started. My parents were incredibly concerned over the summer about me getting a job. And the only job I could find was as a graveyard shift server at Denny's. First of all, there's a lot of cast of characters to make up the Denny's family. There are struggling, unwed mothers, and me. The summer before I worked at Denny's, I worked at a summer camp for sort of yuppie children. And if you got there at 7:15 instead of 7:10 more than twice, then you got fired. Not so at Denny's. I showed up an hour and a half late to my shift one day, and my manager was like, "Don't worry about it. We gave some of your tables to Shannon, and she might be able to feed her family tonight." That joke is really hard to say because it's true. I used to work 2 different shifts. I would work the 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. shift, and then sometimes I'd work the 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. Between 4 and 6, there are a grand total of 3 people who come into Denny's. But they schedule 6 servers because you need that many for the 6 o'clock dinner rush. So it would take me like 45 minutes before I got my first table, and by the time I did, I was incredibly desperate for human contact. Have you ever had an over-attentive waiter? Because that is worse than anything. Hi everyone, my name's Max. How can I make your dining experience phenomenal? Extra napkins? Okay, Sandra from Arlington, whose dad is in the hospital. Okay, I brought an entire package. I drew a picture of you guys eating on the top of the package. And look who's back, it's your dad, he's all better. What brings you guys out tonight? What brings you guys out tonight is a great question at 1 in the morning. Oh, what brings you guys out tonight? Ah, we just got back from our daughter's dance recital. She was lovely. Thank you for asking. Have $5. Look, I gave the man $5, honey. We're all having a good time. At 4:30 in the afternoon, it's a sad question. They were not already out. This is what brought them out. Hey, what brings you guys out tonight? Well, I wanted to go to a Mexican restaurant, and my wife wanted to go to an Italian restaurant, but we have a failing marriage. I made the mistake of saying good afternoon to someone eating country fried steak at 4:30 once. It is the afternoon, isn't it? I'll probably go to bed after this. There are some happy, well-adjusted rich people who come into Denny's, but they think everything about them being in Denny's is hilarious. You guys have a smoking section? How fun, I didn't know those still existed. We'll take non-smoking. Thanks, champ. And they'd always wink at me. I'm not sure, not to be a dick, but I think rich people can kind of sense each other. They can tell I didn't really belong there. They kind of acted like the cook was our 4-year-old daughter and we were all having a tea party. Oh, you have pancake bites! And you can dip those in icing. How delightful! We'll take 2 orders. And those people are actually my favorite customers because if the cook's messed up, you can bring out the food in whatever state they made it because these people are expecting fucking garbage. If they get a hair in their eggs, they will move it to the side and tip you 45%. For me. For the other waitresses, they tip 10% because they should be paying more taxes. Those kids who went to Narnia were really lucky that they got there during a period of political turmoil. I was not so lucky. When I was 9, my parents had the house fumigated, and so they sent me and my sister to go live with my great aunt and my great uncle in a beautiful hillside cottage in Rockport, Maine. And it was my great aunt and uncle are really wonderful people, and we had a good time, but their house didn't have many amenities, so we had to entertain ourselves. And one day we were playing hide and go seek. And in my great aunt's guest room, they had this huge, beautiful black armoire, and with like wonderful cabinets to hide in. So I, of course, went there, and I kind of like snuggled in between my great aunt's coats, and I like tried to keep as quiet as possible. And then suddenly I felt a weird snap of cold on my back. And I tried to ignore it and stay quiet. And then I felt this otherworldly force pull me backwards. And I went tumbling out of the armoire, and I ended up in a beautiful, snowy clearing with fresh pine trees and a scarscape that looked like a postcard. And I knew what was up because I read a lot of young adult literature at this age. I was the chosen one being sent here to save this magical kingdom. So I struck out in search of the nearest village, and I got there, and they were pretty much fine. So what are you gonna do? I settled down, I took a beaver wife. I raised a family, I grew tomatoes and corn. I became a man with the stocky arms and calloused hands of who's been hardened by long days of work in the field. I grew. I lived. One person was like, this joke is fucking weird. And everyone was like, yeah, it is. Thanks for reminding us. Anyway. So one day, one of the walrus children went missing, and his mother, who was a very fidgety woman, you have them in every town, asked me if I would go out into the woods and look for her child. And I said, of course, being a man of the village. Probably about 35, but I had a winter birthday, and those were always the busiest months for us, and that was the last thing on my mind. So anyway, I went out into the woods to look for this child, and I'm calling his name, and I found myself in a very familiar snowy clearing. And I felt this weird pull on my leg, and I started to slide down a hill, and waiting at the bottom of the hill were the open black arms of the armoire. And you just remember that time doesn't pass while you're in Narnia, so suddenly, like waking from a dream, I was 9 years old again, snuggled in my great aunt's coats. And my sister opened the door, and she said, I found you! And I said somberly, no, I found me. Weren't we just talking about Denny's? That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much. So I've been doing this all 4 years. It's a huge honor, and I really appreciate it. So enjoy the rest of your night.
Guys, keep it going right now for everyone you've seen, including Max Lasser.